They think it's a good thing. That there's a lot of experienced guys that were captains elsewhere, and they've brought a lot of gravitas and experience and motivation to what they're doing here. How has that kind of played out for you, seeing all these new, older guys come together?
Well, I like the pieces that we've added. I mean, there's 7 returning players and 7 new players, and I really, I love the mix of this group. I specifically could say it in 2 parts. There's many things that I can say about this group, but there's 2 things that just automatically stick out for me. Is one, that this is a group that enjoys and loves to compete. They just really do. I mean, from the start, there's never been an issue about preparing, practicing, and playing with a competitive fight and a competitive nature. And so I really love that. And then the other part is this group genuinely enjoys being around each other. Whether it's on the court or off the court, they just enjoy the experience of doing this together. And that's something that I've really enjoyed being a part of and watching over the last 4 or 5 months.
If I can ask a quick follow-up on that, how have you seen RJ and Armando handle all these different guys coming in there and then maintaining who they are with this group, but also embracing what they bring in?
Well, I mean, RJ and Armando throughout their entire career have always been, been examples of great leadership. One of the things that, we tell the guys all the time is that, your job and your requirement is to be the best that you can be on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. And there's no better example of that is RJ for 4 years and Armando starting his 5th year. And so to have 2 guys that have been a part of the program and understand how to do things the right way and to be an example of that, one of the things that I've talked to the guys is, being men of integrity. And, being a man of integrity really has 2 meanings. One, it's doing the right thing when no one is looking. And then number 2 is saying the right things, but also your actions backing that up. And as I said before, there's no better example of that than RJ and Armando, and they've been terrific.
Hubert, you said before, as you get closer to the start of the season, how have you seen Elliot Cadeau and Zayden High's kind of development going from that, obviously, high school stage to college? How have you seen them start to progress?
Yeah, I've been really happy with both of them. I mean, they're high-level guys on and off the court, and they bring a skill set to us that, honestly has just been needed. And having that type of competitive fire and their ability out there on the floor has been such a blessing and an honor to be a part of out there on the floor. And it's just, I've been just really happy with Elliot and Zayden and their development, their commitment to be a part of this team and this program and this university and this community. And I'm so thankful that they're here, and I love coaching them.
Hubert, you've said before that there is no off season in college basketball anymore. But when do you think you mentally turned the page from last season to this season? Was it the first day of practice? Was it sometime in May? When do you think that happened?
I don't know specifically. I couldn't put a particular date or month or time, but I know that my focus is on this year's team. And one of the things that I have consistently said before is, this year's team is the one that I'm focusing on, and it's important to focus on what is in front of you and what is real. And what is real is this year's team improvement, this year's team ability to be the best that it can be, and that's where my focus is, and that's where the team's focus is as well.
Hubert, you talk a lot about preparation and the importance of that.
Yeah.
Given the way the last 2 summers have gone, did you change anything about your preparation going into this year? This is the first, the last 2 years you were working on the margins of the roster. You had a lot of returners this year, obviously a lot more newness in the roster construction.
No, not really. I wouldn't say there's anything majorly different. I've said before, it doesn't matter whether I'm a 3rd-year head coach or a 50-year head coach. I always believe that the best place to be is in a position of listening and learning. And so, this off season, heading into this season, was a lot of learning, a lot of growing, and seeing things that I felt like worked for us and things that needed to be tweaked and pivoted and altered and changed, and being able to implement that with a new group.
You have 4 transfers and 2 true freshmen, 2 just freshmen first years. How do you balance sort of that ratio now in today's tourist portal era, where you can go get older guys versus getting a talented guy out of the high school ranks? Where's your thinking on the sort of that balance you want to have going forward?
Well, I would say 2 things. I want a really talented player that's the right fit for us. So if he's 18 or 39, I'll take him. If it helps us win games and he's a joy to be around every day, I don't care what age or what classification, I want him with the North Carolina uniform and being a part of this team.
Does that de-emphasize, do you think, I mean broadly, I think freshmen, you see it more commonly now, more transfers than freshmen on a lot of rosters across Division I and the power conference level. Is that just a sign that, is it temporary because the COVID year is still kind of factoring in there, or is it freshmen may take a little bit of a lesser role across the sport because of those things?
Well, I think it's an individual basis. I think it depends. Obviously we had talked about the extra COVID year has been a huge impact on programs throughout the country, specifically us. I think it's a benefit to have guys like Cormac and Pax, and I call him Jalen Withers, because Jalen Washington, they both have a J and a W, so I've got to find a way to distinguish both of them, because they both look at me if I say Jalen, so Jay Witt. And I think it's a benefit to have older guys that have that experience, understand what it does take in order to prepare, in order to practice, in order to play, to be the best that you can be. But there's also a great benefit of having guys like Elliott and Zayden as well. I like a combination of both. I really do. I think it's a good combination, and it brings that competitive fire from a youthful standpoint from Zayden and Elliott, and then from an experience standpoint where Jay Witt and Cormac and Pax, they want to end their career the right way and be a part of something that's special.
Coach, speaking of Cormac, I asked him and a couple other guys about, did they have a green light? They said absolutely.
He's got the green light.
Was that how he has a green light?
No, he has a green light. He has a green light because he can make shots. One of the things that they didn't understand is when I was at Carolina, every player had a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. The red light is you can only shoot a layup if you were wide open, which I had my freshman year, which I didn't understand from Coach Smith, but I had a red light. And then sophomore year, I had the yellow light, and so I could shoot a wide open 3, but not until I threw the ball into J.R. Reed and Pete Chilcutt, and it touched the paint through post of penetration. And then my junior year, I got a light green, and then my senior year, I had a double green light. So, but the 3 green light guys are RJ and Pax and Cormac, and the reason why they're green light guys is for a number of reasons, but one, they've earned it. They can make shots, and number 2 is they take good shots. And so I want our best shooters, when they're open from 3, to feel comfortable and confident to be able to let it fly.
How far are you
in terms of
your rotations and
Oh gosh.
and also just the style of play that we can expect too?
Well, the style of play, I mean, we're one of the things that I wanted to change or do a better job this year compared to last year is just our tempo. I wanted to play faster. Whether it's a make or miss, I want us to go. And so, number 1, there needed to be a commitment to play this way. And number 2, you got to be in shape. And I feel like we've checked both of those boxes. So in terms of a tempo standpoint, we're going to play faster. And from a defensive standpoint, I know one of the things that we had to improve on is find a way to be able to generate steals and deflections and be able to get into the open court. So, we've made some tweaks and pivots to be able to put us in positions to get those steals and deflections to allow us to get into the open court, and so that we can find more ways to score and be more disruptive on the defensive end.
Who are some of the players that have...
Adam. Thank you, Kirsten. I've been trying, Hubert.
It's okay, we're good. I'm not going anywhere.
When you were saying earlier about learning and growing, whether it's you're a third year coach or a 50th year coach, like, what did that look like specifically for you this offseason? I mean, was this like a huge self-scout that you did? Like, how did you like get into that, and what did you do?
Well, I think it's important to have self-reflection and be able to learn from things that you've done in the past. I think that's what, and you have to be honest, and that's, to me, I think that's where growth comes from. I mean, as a player, I never felt like that I made it. Even when I got to the NBA, I felt like there were areas that I can improve on, that I can get better at, and so that's the same way that I feel as a coach, not just in terms of X's and O's, but, you know, practice organization, recruiting, the communication between myself and the players, just everything. And I think it's important to be able to do that. You know, one of the things that I always tell the guys is to be able to answer two questions, you know, what can get you on the floor and what can keep you on the floor. I said, in order to be able to answer those two questions, you know, you have to critically think about it and be honest with yourself. And I think for myself as a coach, is just every year just thinking, how can I improve? How can I get better? And that's what I did this offseason.
So,
Who has stood out to you so far defensively?
Well, hopefully everybody. I don't want any weak links. One of the things that our on-ball defense has been a lot better. You know, our overall pressure and impacting the ball early in the preseason has consistently been better. I think another area that has been better, we've got more guys that can really guard, whether it's a big being able to play a guard out on the perimeter and a guard being able to guard a big down low on a post. And when you have that ability to be able to have that versatility on the defensive end, it allows you to be more creative and do some different things out there. And I think that's one of the things that I, you know, from a defensive standpoint, that I think it was important for us to change, is just to change pitches from a defensive standpoint. I felt like specifically last year was a lot of man-to-man defense, but there wasn't any changes in terms of different types of looks. And that's something that we've talked about, and I feel like we have the ability to do that because of the individual defense that we have from top to bottom.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but last year, at the beginning of the year, I think it was, the players kind of came together and gave you a list of what they wanted to be, right?
Not this year. I wrote down the list, and this is what we're doing.
So, and the players had no chance to do it on their own.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What was
the standard, the foundation of our faith, that this is who we are, this is who we are, core defense, this is who we are. We're going to be on the offensive end, and it is what it is. The standard is a standard. And so if you don't want to be a part of it, then you're not going to play.
How did you approach the transfer portal differently this offseason? Obviously, 2 summers ago, it was kind of just a one-for-one with Brady and Pete, at one in, one out. This offseason, you had a lot of new pieces, moving parts. What was your kind of philosophy different this summer when trying to figure out who you wanted to get for this roster?
I don't think it was a different philosophy at all. I mean, in any recruiting, whether it's a transfer or a high school player, the number one, there's 2 things I'm looking for. Is there a need, and is there a want? So, like, I won't recruit anybody that I want that we don't need, and I won't recruit anybody that we need and I don't want. And so in the same manner, in the transfer portal, we were looking for guys that fit a need that we actually wanted, and I felt like we checked the box on all of the guys that we got from the transfer portal.
Why did you change and decide to make the list yourself?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is it a change of pace thing, or just?
No. I'm the head coach.
Hubert, great answer.
How was your bench philosophy changed going into this year with so many veteran players who I assume come here hoping and expecting to play? Building rotation, we used to say they earn time to get time and so forth. Does that change with so many veterans?
No, my philosophy is the same. If you prepare and practice and play really well, you'll play. That's always been my philosophy.
You don't have, you have an 8-man, something?
I don't have a philosophy of I have a 5-man rotation. I only want to play 8 guys. I'll play as many. I don't have a number. But if you prepare, you practice, and you play well, you will play.
Hubert, you brought
Armando mentioned at some length the issues that he had with Cormac as an opponent, Paxton as an opponent, Dylan as an opponent.
What issues? Because they were good?
No, that he didn't enjoy playing against them, that they weren't nice. And the question was, did you guys want to get less nice by bringing in players who were hard to play against? Was that any consideration?
I don't characterize Cormac and Pax as not nice. I characterize Cormac and Pax as unbelievable, terrific young men who, sorry, at 2:47 it tells me to pray and read, so I guess I'm not going to do that right now. Unless you guys want to be quiet for about 5 minutes.
I might want to pray.
The point is, they're guys who you don't like playing against, but you like having them on your team.
Yeah, I don't like guys playing well against us, but I like guys playing well for us. And so, you know, Pax had a terrific game against us when we played Brown a couple years ago, and I've always been a fan of Cormac, whether he was playing at Stanford for his freshman year and the years he was playing at Notre Dame. I think it's really easy from afar to be able to see a guy that you would love to coach and love to be a part of your team, and Paxton and Cormac. I love having them here at Carolina.
You mentioned in the past that you like having multiple ball handlers. You
Yes.
brought in a couple of guys this year, Elliott, Harrison, who certainly you're capable of creating. How has that balance worked out so far with those guys, alongside or separately from RJ?
No, it is. It's a great balance. You know, I've said before, I think it's important to have multiple guys that can make plays out there. If you only have one, I think that's, especially at our level and the teams that we're playing and the schedule that we're playing, if you only have one guy that can create, that I think that causes problems. And when you have multiple guys that not only can make plays for themselves but for their teammates, I think that's an added bonus. So when you mention RJ, Elliott, and Harrison, instinctively, yes, they can score, but instinctively they like to pass. They like to be a playmaker. And so when you have that type of player out there on the floor, it really helps with sharing the basketball. And, you know, last year that was a problem for us. You know, out of 15 teams in ACC, we were 14th in the ACC in terms of team assists. And so having those type of guys that not only can but enjoy creating for others is something that I'm really excited about this year.
Have you already seen?
Hang on, time for a couple more, please. Thank you.
Have you already seen an impact in his first year with the team in a coaching role with Marcus Page on the players?
Yeah, I have. I really have. He's been an awesome addition to our staff. It's made me feel old. This is my 12th year as a coach, from an assistant to a head coach, because we came in together, and now he's Coach Page. But his personality, his knowledge of the game, the way that he relates to the players, it's been like Marcus has been here for a number of years. He's the example of what a Carolina basketball player is about. Excelling in the classroom, in the community, and on the court. And to have that example as a coach makes me very happy. And the guys absolutely love him.
You mentioned how together and competitive this year's team is at the start.
Yeah.
Was that to say that last year's wasn't or was less than in those regards?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just specifically talking about this year's team. I think this year's team, those characteristics are the first two characteristics that jump out to me. It's not a comparison to other years, and those comments aren't saying that it wasn't present in the previous years as well.
It seems like this offseason has sort of been quiet from your guys.
I like it. It's something that I've told them. I told them that, you know, and I've always said this, that I want them to turn down or turn off the noise from the phone, the family, the friends, and the basketball fans, and I think that's really important. I told them specifically what noise is. I said, you know, if you hear anything from the phone, the family, the friends, and college basketball fans, it doesn't make you a better player, doesn't make you a better person, it doesn't make you a better teammate, then that's noise. And that's something that you need to turn down or turn off. And that makes me feel good because I'm not a part of social media. I don't know what's going on, but for you to say that the noise has turned down with this group, that puts a smile on my face.
As a quick follow-up real quick to that, do you think that in some ways coming off a Final Four run and going to the championship, some of that is just inevitably unavoidable? Like maybe, I think Armando called it the Hollywood aspect of things?
A lot of Armando quotes. I hope he talks on defense the way he's talking. We're going to be pretty good. That's my guy. What's your question again? Armando has gotten me all befuddled.
Is it in some ways unavoidable, coming off a Final Four run in a national championship game, to sort of get
I think it's unavoidable. I think it's unavoidable here. This is Carolina. This is Carolina. So irregardless, it doesn't matter what year, what season, the expectations of this team and of this program never changes. And so it's unavoidable every year here at Carolina. And so you're just gonna have to deal with it. And you're gonna have to thrive in this type of atmosphere where everyone is looking, everyone is talking, everyone is paying attention, and you have to be able to put yourself in a position to be successful. It is what it is. If you don't want the light shining on you, then this isn't the place for you. And so I don't think it really matters whether going to the championship game or not. The spotlight is on you when you come to play at Carolina.
Last two quick questions, please. Nia, then RL. Make them quick, please.
Coach Davis, can you just kind of take us through that standard that you've been building for your program these past couple of weeks? Why was it so important for you that each player understand the core principles of this program?
Well, I don't know, like, if you don't understand where you're going, how you're going to get there, then what are we doing? We're wasting our time. Mm-hmm. You know, I gave the guys the foundation of our faith and 5 things that, everything that we do, that's how we're going to roll. And I talked about this is what we're going to look like on the offensive end and defensively. And I gave them a quiz at the beginning of the summer, and all of them got an F. And I told them I'm going to give them another pop quiz again. And if anybody gets one question wrong, you will not practice. So the day before practice, I gave them a pop quiz, and everyone got it right. And so I don't know how you can achieve anything if you don't know who you are, don't know where you're going, and you don't know how to get there. So it's important for everybody to be on the same page of where we're going and how we're going to get there. And everyone got an A. They passed.
RL?
I heard you have a drill that requires 80 passes in 60 seconds. How is that going, and are you confident that ball movement will be better this season?
Yeah, well, they did make 80 passes in a minute, but there's no defense, so they should get it. It's a warm-up drill. It's to get them moving a little bit before we start to really run. But I feel really confident about our ability to share the basketball and to move it better than last year. I really do. And I like the way that our offense is functioning so far, and I love how everyone, one of the things that I pointed out was that I think is important is to celebrate other people's successes. And you know, you guys may be able to see this the first 20 minutes of practice, but you know, when someone hits a shot, not only does that person feel good about the shot that he made, all his other teammates are celebrating just as much as well, and that's a sign of a healthy team that understands the importance of sharing the basketball.
Coach, just a quick clarification. What was the quiz that you gave out that initially was failed and you said the players passed here later as a reason?
I'm not going to give that to you guys. And the reason being is, not because I don't want to give it to you, I think there's some things that are meant for us I just do. I think there are some things about this team that, not in a bad way, aren't meant for you. They're meant for us. And the important thing is that all the guys not only got the test right, they are during practice reciting what our foundation of our faith is and who we're going to be as a team. And so not only did they pass the test, they know the information and they believe in the information. I think that's important.
Thank you.
So I apologize.